What is up, Everyday Athlete Podcast Network listeners? Welcome to the Fireside Chat, where I have returning guest Natalie Lutz. I cannot wait to talk to her and see what she has been up to over the last 4 or 5 months, see what's in the future for her, and just kind of discuss life in today's world as an everyday athlete. Before I bring her on, just a reminder, please subscribe, rate, and review the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network on your favorite podcast platform or on YouTube, because yes, it helps us with the algorithm. But honestly, I love when I see comments come through on YouTube and Spotify. It lets me know that you've heard something interesting. So drop that comment in there. Drop a comment about what Natalie says during the conversation. I appreciate it. If I sound a little off, it's because I was up at 2 a.m. Pacific time to fly all the way across the country today and land in New York. And it is now 8 p.m. on the East Coast, and it has been a long day. So I might slip up as I'm talking to Natalie, but we're going to do our best to have a great conversation and laugh all along the way. And so without further ado, let's bring Natalie on. Let's start that great conversation. My friend, thank you for joining us. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. Thanks for having me again. I'm excited to be here. We're going to liven it up, wake you up, me up.
By the way, I don't know who us is when I said thank you for joining us. It's already gotten late on in this conversation. I'm already too tired. I need the coffee to start to kick in at this point.
I'm getting mine made right now and having it delivered. Hub's just bringing it. I'm like, give me the coffee.
I love it. So it's 8:00 on the East Coast. You live on the East Coast.
Yes. Yeah.
Are you capable of drinking coffee this late and then going to bed without any problem?
I will probably have the coffee and be in bed like as soon as we're done. I can drink coffee as like a nightcap and go right to bed. It doesn't save me. Yeah, it's terrible. It's really bad.
Yeah. It's very rare that if I have a cup of coffee, and I would say this, if I have it at like 3 or 4 o'clock, then I might have a little bit of trouble going to sleep. But if I have it at like 7 p.m., I go right to sleep without any problem. And I read once that somebody said, if you can drink coffee at 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night and still be asleep in a half hour, that's just your ADHD that's working for you.
I'm pretty sure I have that.
I know for a fact I do. I can't keep anything straight. Lori, my wife, is working on our taxes because she's a CPA. And today is the day before you have to file. And she's like, oh, can you get me this W-2 for the teaching job at work? And I was in the middle of doing something else. And I went to that. And then all of a sudden, I just started doing schools teaching things instead of going back to the original thing I was doing before she asked.
So funny. I know. And it's so bad today with like cell phones and stuff, because I'll be in the middle of something and then somebody will text me and then I'll get sidetracked, or I'll go into my Gmail and then I'll see an old email and I'm like, okay, I want to move this over here and put this over here. And like I start reorganizing all my emails and then I'm like, wait, I got to go back. Like, what was I doing? And then you forget what you were doing. And then you feel old. You're like, what? Forgetting what I'm doing.
So let me ask you this then. As a runner, we have workouts, warm up, cool down, tempo effort, interval efforts. Like, do you program it into like a Garmin or whatever platform you use? Do you write it on your hand? Like, how do you remember that stuff then?
So I have had the watch programmed for me when I was being coached by someone that used that type of platform. And the worst part is having that like make noise. Like it'll, when you're running, it goes beep, beep. I don't know. It like alerts you that you're not fast enough. You're too fast, yada, yada. I turned that off right away. It was like mentally, I could not handle it. So I turned that off. I don't do that. So I would just look at the workout and remember it. And then if it was really complicated, I have written it on my hands before. One time CJ Albertson, great guy, gave me a workout that was like ladder. There was no way I could remember it. And it was hot and I like wrote it all over my hand. And of course it melted halfway through the workout. And I think I had a picture of it on Strava before it like melted, but I still have the workout and remembered it. It's a good one.
As a triathlete, I would program my watch for the pool, but I would also bring like a Ziploc bag and would have tons of my workouts just written down in there so that I always had it available. And what I've come to realize is in the pool, the watch doesn't really help me out because when you do drills, it screws it up for me. And so I'd rather have it written down. But when I'm on the track or the treadmill, having the watch program for me does help. But when it starts beeping, to your point, you're too fast or you're too slow. If I'm going too fast and I know that sound is, I will mentally try to slow down, and then that's it. I will ignore the rest of the dings. Like I'm not going to keep trying to run like this. I'll end up falling on my face.
Yeah, it's just distracting. I like to zone out. I like to, and workouts are hard because, you have to like constantly stay on and like hit your pace, but that's just next level. I don't do well with that. So yeah, I can't handle it.
So we have just helped every ADHD endurance
Mhm.
sports athlete that we have in the audience for sure. Like just
Yep.
ignore the watch, write it down, and if it's too complicated, just do your own thing. Coach will understand.
I actually have one of the platforms I use for some of the people that I coach does the same thing. And every time before like if they're first timers, I'll give them a workout. I say, just please, like for your own good, just back try, if you have a Garmin, just click back, remove it, and then just do a regular workout because it's just going to drive you nuts. That's what I
Yeah.
suggest. Some people still do it though. They like it. There's some people that like it. All for them. Good for them. I can't handle it.
Like for me, when I coach athletes and really triathletes, because they're going to get a workout for swimming, they're going to get a workout for cycling, they're going to get a workout for running. I'm like, if it's too complicated for you to just remember it, you have to tell me so that I can simplify it for you. Like these are, easy maneuvers, for lack of a better phrase. And we can adjust it so that you can get through the workout instead of wondering like, oh, is this supposed to be tempo? Is this supposed to be zone 5? Is this supposed to be zone? If it's too complicated and you can't remember it, just let me know. Like we'll do something else for you so that you can actually enjoy the workout and go hard when you're supposed to go hard instead of worrying, is this hard? Is this supposed to be easy? And
Yeah.
it just overcomplicates everything.
Yeah. And there's a big piece. I'm a huge fan, and I have like shouted this from the rooftops. I feel that perceived effort is like the golden, rule. Follow that. A lot of people are really into the heart rate. There's a place for it. I use it to see like if I'm getting over time, like if my heart rate's lowering on my long runs, it tells me, okay, I'm getting fitter. If I'm having a bad day and I notice it's up, or like I was sick one time and it shot up really high, that's just my guide. But
Yep.
there's a lot of people that will. I had this one guy who like he would never go out of like a 120 or a 110 because he thought that was a way to go, and he was running like he's like, it takes me forever to run and I want to run faster. I'm like, oh my gosh, you should just, I was like, I said, F the heart rate and just
Yes.
run and like however you feel, whatever you feel is good. And he like started taking off because he was following the strict, he thought he wasn't supposed to get his heart rate higher. And I'm like, how are you going to get better?
Right.
If you're not going to prep, but yeah, that's an extreme case, but I do love perceived effort because, that's just going to tell you really how you're feeling, how you're doing.
Same for me. Like I try to get into like an RPE 6-7 area where I can have a conversation where I'm not gasping for air, and I know I'm moving. And so, to your point, if I see the paces coming down while that effort feels the same, then I know I'm getting fitter. And yes, the heart rate is there, and you can look at that too. How do you deal with a brand new athlete? Because I've had to do this with brand new athletes. They're like, I don't know what comfortable feels like yet. Like they're just starting out. So when you have a brand new athlete, how are you working with them on that RPE 5, 6, 7, 8 space?
That's tough. That's always a tough one. I had someone recently. She really she's comfortable with tens, but she doesn't know how to go any faster. She said she tries like to do a 400 and will stay the same pace no matter what. So that was like, kind of similar, but I remember that being hard. And I was explaining to her the perceived effort, and we did some track workouts. And basically, I just say, you're gonna have to do a few over and over again to be able to tell what the difference is. Like obviously the comfortable, you're able to have a conversation, you're not dying, you're not gasping. But it is hard when you're not with them in person to be able to see, you're not on the track with them. They're not like sprinting for their life and dying. So it is very hard to kind of gauge and walk them through, but I'll look at their workouts, talk to them after, kind of explain how they should be feeling, that kind of thing.
Do you use Training Peaks for your platform?
I have used it as an athlete and I like it. And I've also used Final Surge as an athlete, but I use VDOT, and for the only reason it's not my favorite platform, but it's cheaper. So I front a little bit of it for the coaching group I'm with, and it's the cheapest option. So and I have used VDOT and I like it. It's simple, it's nice. The only thing is when I do quality workouts, which are the track ones, it's really limited in it kind of forces you, and maybe it's just that I don't know all the ins and outs and haven't had time to like go through it and find the nuances. But my experience is it's very kind of rigid and solid on some of the quality runs. Like I can't make I have to write it in and do extra to get it to do what I want it to do. So that's the only thing.
I'm sure that you could see this in VDOT because I've never used it, but in Training Peaks, I like to give my athletes strides to do at the ends of their easy runs.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I look at their strides, I can then take that into what their RP, like I will tell them where you felt like this is where you should feel the majority of the time, right?
Yeah.
When you're doing your easy run and that kind of stuff. And I have because there are two types of athletes in my experience. There is the one who understands that the stride is built into it. So by the end of the 30 seconds, 45 seconds, they're basically going all out. And the athlete who goes all out from the get-go.
Yep.
And so you got to be like, you're trying to nail it on that. It's like the guy in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He's got like the strings.
I love that show. It's like one of my top favorites. Oh my gosh. It's my favorite. The dentist system is my favorite episode. Great job.
It's like trying to do that. So you brought it up. So we're gonna take the exit ramp that you just brought up. So if It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is one of your favorite shows, what are your other favorite shows?
Oh, that's a good one. This is really bad. I haven't been watching a lot of TV lately, but It's Always Sunny is one of my favorites. I'm an old Everybody Loves Raymond fan. I haven't seen it in a really long time, but it's one of my old favorites. Trying to think what else. Oh, I am a huge fan of Dateline, 2020s, all those like murder shows. They're probably my favorite. That's like my guilty pleasure. Whenever everyone's out of the house, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna watch a Dateline 2020. And Unsolved Mysteries, actually. And they came out with a new one, but I'm a fan of the old Robert Stack.
Yeah.
Burberry tie.
I was gonna ask.
Can't beat him. That's like one of my all-time favorite shows.
Yeah, I was going to ask if we're going old school on Unsolved Mysteries, Robert Stack, but he looks literally like a detective. He does.
And then they had that other fella who was, been on some shows or something, and he just wasn't. It just didn't work. But he was lovely, but it just wasn't Robert. You can't beat Robert.
No, you
There's
can't
something
replicate
about him who's like robotic. It's great. You can't read it up.
Do you ever watch the show Law and Order, the old ones?
Yes, my mom used to watch them all the time when I was younger, and the dun 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 dun. I would always like hear that in the background, and I would sit down and like always watch the endings, and the endings seem to always be like almost exactly the same, just like another scenario.
Always. But Robert Stack reminded me of Detective Lenny Briscoe. Do you remember Detective Lenny Briscoe? That's who Robert Stack always reminded. Like Lenny Briscoe reminded me of Robert Stack.
Yes,
like he was like an old curmudgeon detective. You can see him shaking his fist at the clouds. Criminals these days.
Oh my gosh.
I had written down a couple of things that I wanted to talk to you about before we just went off the rails here and took the exit ramp for TV shows. But you had, last time we had talked about trying to get a sub 3 hour marathon. And I know you had a couple of posts where you didn't get there. You had been sick throughout the process. And I want to touch on that a little bit because the last time we talked, I found you to be what I would call the epitome of the everyday athlete. Yes, you run very fast and you've qualified for Boston, but your mindset was that this isn't everything. Like running is not my personality, basically.
Yeah.
And so I want to get into that because we miss goals. We don't get PRs, races don't go the way that we had intended them to go, and all of that kind of stuff. So
Mhm.
walk me through the process as you're building up to this event and getting sick, and like what's going through your mind, one,
Mhm.
as an athlete, but then also you're a coach. So how are you coaching yourself in those moments now?
Yeah. That's a great question. I did sub 3 before twice. So this race that I was going to do, wanted to run a my goal was my big goal, and I don't like to share my goals honestly, but I will for this. My goal was to get on the American development team. I think it used to be called the high performance team, or maybe I'm switching them around. I think now it's the high performance team. So you needed 249 as a master's female to do that. And that's for Chicago, for the
And
Chicago Marathon.
do they define masters as 40 plus or is it 50 plus?
It's 40 plus. I
Okay.
could be wrong too. They might have age graded. Like I think it's 40, maybe 40 to 45. And then no, actually, I'm pretty sure it's just 40 plus. So
Okay.
I was really surprised. It used to be 255 and I ran a 254 at Chicago. So I was super excited thinking I had made it, but then they made it the previous year, they did make it a little bit more strict and stringent. So my goal at McKirdy and this block that you were asking about was to try to get to knock off about 5 minutes of my time and get a 249 to make that team.
And
So
I want to stress this too,
yeah.
right? So knocking off 5 minutes at that level is an incredible accomplishment if you get there. Knocking off
Mhm.
1 minute or 2 minutes at that level is an immense accomplishment because for I don't run anywhere near that fast. I am a 350 to 4 hour marathoner. But for me to run 4 hours and then to run
It's pretty solid.
355,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
That 5 minutes, there's space in my fitness to get there. When you're running 250 to get down to 245, let's say, like there's not a lot of room and fitness in that space to
Yeah.
increase to get there. So this is a big step. And then
Hmm.
the pressure and help me understand the team that you're looking for. Is this like the level to then try to have an Olympic qualifier? Like what's this team represent for you?
No, this team is just like, it just is another thing that I can work toward, that I feel like I am closer to, that gives me incentive.
Okay.
And the team is just, I believe that they might start, so they when you get into this team, you get sort of like a really neat experience at the race. So there's porta pots for you when you're in Chicago. It's really hard to find a porta pot. So there's a whole area for this high performance team. And I had a few friends that were on it last year, and their experience was just wonderful. And it's just something else I could try to strive to. I'm not at the OLQ level, so that's way out of reach for me. But this is something that gives me incentive, and
Gotcha.
I feel so. I went from a 259 to then a 254 in my next marathon. So I thought it was a little bit of a stretch, but I thought, okay, maybe if I really try, I could knock another bit off. So that was what I was trying to do this block. And you're absolutely right. There's a lot of, I feel like, I think it's more like self pressure for me that I put on myself. It doesn't come from anybody else. And then when you're asking about like the coaching piece and like coaching myself, I find I'm sometimes too, might be a little too, I don't want to say like easy on myself, but I tend to be like you said, this isn't, I'm like, running isn't my whole identity. I am a mother, a wife, and I work full time. And I have other pursuits that I really, this year, I'm actually going to pull back on running a little bit because I have some other pursuits that in the future, I think would behoove me a little bit more. So I'm going to take a backseat to running a little bit and just focus on other things. I feel that when I do that, I kind of, not saying like I give myself an excuse, but I'm kind of like, this isn't my main gig. You know, I'm not getting paid to do this. When it becomes unfun for me, um, that's when I start to reassess things. If it becomes too much of a burden where I feel like, my goals are a little maybe too strong or too aggressive, I'm not sure, but I tend to balance. I try to look at it very balanced and see if it's really something that is good or if I'm, taking it too far, because this block where I think some things went wrong is I really tried to do a lot of higher mileage. So I was doing 80s, a 90. I've never hit 90 before. And I don't know if you came over here at all during the weather in the winter in the East Coast.
We
It
were here
was
during Christmas.
absolutely horrific.
Yeah.
We had tons of single digits. I don't really like the treadmill. I don't really run on the treadmill unless I absolutely have to. I was out in the snow on Friday nights in like 6 degrees, and my body just got broken down immune system wise because I really hate the cold. I'm not a cold weather person. My whole body like tenses up. I can't get blood flow to my legs. I barely move. It was like shuffling just to get the miles in. And then I got sick 3 times. Got the flu, the stomach flu, a virus for my kids. And then, so what happened, this block that you were kind of referring to was the race comes up. I did a lot of higher mileage, which I was really proud of. And I also had a lot of personal things going on. It was like anything and everything that could have, my husband and I laugh about all the time. We're like, anything and everything that could have been thrown at us was literally thrown at us. I had like a tree fell on my car, totaled it, but I didn't have a car for 2 months because they were working with insurance and the place where it fell. And then like just everything, things broke down, this, that, and the other thing made life like so much harder. And we had a bunch of other stuff happen. So I felt like I kept showing up no matter what. And I was just so proud of that. I didn't miss a workout, only when I was sick. I was out with the flu for a week, but I was just so proud of the fact that anything that kept getting thrown at me, I was like, I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm still going. Nothing's going to stop me. Right. And I said, if I just make it through this block, I don't care what happens. I'm going to toe that line because I'm not letting all that work that I did to just show up go to nothing. So Monday rolls around, Monday before the race, and it's a Saturday race, not a Sunday race. And I wake up. My daughter was sick that weekend. And I'm notorious for getting whatever she gets. I'm always like the next one. And sore throat, swollen lymph nodes to like the nines. I could barely, like the right side was like bulging out. Body aches, fever. I felt awful. And I kept telling myself, this is kind of mild. It was not. And I even texted my coach. I'm like, I'm not sure what's going on. Is this the taper sniffles? I mean, I know they existed. I had them one time before a Boston marathon I did. I definitely had it. It was it feels like allergies, but this was not. This was definitely like sick. So I literally laid on the couch like all day, doing liquids, doing everything I was supposed to. I didn't run. And then the next day I still felt really bad. By Wednesday, I felt okay. I was out and about doing things, but on tons of ibuprofen, still not running, still didn't feel great. And then I just decided, I said, okay, I'm going to go. I'm going to go. And even if my worst, I feel like I put so much into this, it'll still be a great run, right? A great race. So I get there and my head just honestly wasn't in it. I wasn't excited. I was completely indifferent. Like never before in race did I just like, I could care less. Just nothing about me like was excited at all or wanted to run. And then The day of the race came, it was 25 degrees, 27,
Oh,
I think the best. Yeah.
oh,
Winds on Saturday. Sunday, luckily, the OLQ race didn't have high winds, but Saturday around this little lake that they hold it on, the whole far side got this like nasty wind, and there's nowhere to break it. And we're going around. I'm seriously miserable, like not having fun, not enjoying it. And my head was not in it at all. I kept looking at my watch. And when I looked at my watch at mile 3, I was doing 90-mile weeks, like 16s and 20 miles back to back, right? Like it was nothing, right? Oh, yeah. I looked at my watch at mile 3 and I said to myself, holy crap, you have 23 more miles to go. And I've never done that in a marathon where you're like dying by mile 3. And I was like, I'm in big trouble. I was like, I'm in big trouble.
And McKirdy, the way the McKirdy, if I'm not mistaken, it's like a 1.5 mile, 2 mile loop, right? So you're running the same loop repeatedly, correct?
Yeah. So it's about a 3 mile loop.
3 mile loop.
Yeah. And I don't have a problem with that. There's a little loop by my house. It's 0.3. It's almost like kind of like a little longer than a track. And I ran 15 miles around that little 0.3. Like
that's amazing.
I can do that. Yeah. I'm weird like that. I can do that.
But when you're at mile 3 and you've got to do this another 7.5, 8 times, like that I could see becoming that mental scenario.
Yeah. And I wasn't feeling great. Like I started to get like kind of, it felt like me, like it wasn't chills from the cold, although it was extremely cold. And but and I couldn't feel my legs. Like I when we started, I was like, my blood flow is not going to my leg. Like it just was not moving. Yeah. I knew it wasn't going to be a great race. And
so what are you negotiating with yourself at this point? Mile 3. Oh my goodness, I'm only at mile 3. What's the negotiation?
Oh, it was good. It was good. It was like, okay, Nat, you could still come out with like a decent time, like I wanted maybe like a 2:53, a 2:52, or maybe a PR at this point. Well, let's hold on. So I'm going around mile 6. I look down again and I'm like, I can tell my form was breaking down. My coach even was like, I saw you, you were struggling like right away. And I was like, oh, I was 100% struggling like right away. And then I go, either I like let my body warm up. I kept telling myself, I'm so cold. I just need to warm up. And, I've been able to handle all these miles. This shouldn't be a problem. And when I was doing the higher mileage, I was noticing it would take me, obviously it makes sense, take me longer to, warm up, get faster. And it used to be for me like 5 to 7 miles. And at this point into my higher mileage, it would be like mile 10, I would start to finally like warm up. So I kept telling myself, you just need to warm up and stick with it. There were parts of the circuit where I would feel confident. But the problem was, and again, this is something mental and I have to work on it, is the GPS. And I knew this because I had run there before in a half marathon. GPS does not sync properly. So on one side, it kept saying I was like 7:30 pace, and then it would flip over to the other side, it was saying 6:15. So, and then I have my average, of course, and I'm looking at the average and that's fine. But in the moment, seeing those different numbers, really does mess with your head. And when I was on the like side with the 6:15s, I kept telling myself, all right, you got this. This is good. And that's where the wind wasn't. It felt great. It was nice. And then come around the turn and there was this nasty gust of wind and it just was bad. So then I started getting like the cold chills, how like when you're sick. And I just said, okay, at this point I was at mile, I think 11 and a half. And I just look and I see 2 of my friends and I go, hey guys. And I see my husband and I was like, I'm going to drop it. He's filming me. It's hilarious. He actually has it on video. I go, hey, I'm not feeling great, Matt. I'm going to drop out. I'm going to finish up this lap and then use it as a workout. And he's like, all right. He knew. He was like, all right. He's like, I actually thought it was funny when you were like, I said, why didn't you say something to me? He said, you were hoping for like a certain time and I knew you didn't feel good. And he was like, I was thinking you're lucky if you get a PR. And I was like, why didn't you tell me? So,
but it's really cool that he didn't negotiate for you to keep going.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
like he let you race your race
Oh yeah.
because you know your body, you know what you're capable of doing, and he wasn't there to just be like, no, keep going, you can do this. And I think that works when spouses, partners, running club members really know each other and they
Mhm.
know what is happening, as opposed to like if I didn't know you and you said, "Oh, I'm gonna drop out after this lap," I'd be like, "Are you sure? You don't think you could, right? Like, because I don't really, right? Like you could do
Yeah.
this."
Yeah.
But I think when you have somebody who's in your corner who really knows who you are, that
Mhm.
makes a big difference. When I raced Javelina 100 in November of
Mhm.
25, I called my wife from mile 52 and I was like, I think I'm going to drop. And she was like, what's going on? And I was like, well, my kidneys are tender, they're sore, they hurt. And she's like, yeah, you should definitely do it. And I was like, but I'm going to walk the rest of this loop to finish out. So like
Yeah.
10 miles. And
Yeah.
she's like, to fucking do what? Like, like who are you going to impress by walking 10 miles? Just wait there and take the sag wagon.
Yeah.
I was like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's probably a better
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. The wife's the voice of reason, right?
Yeah. Like what was I gonna like? What was the accomplishment? I did the 100K and dropped out. How is that any different than doing 52 miles and dropping out, right? But
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
when you have somebody who's been in your corner for so long, like your husband, they know. And when you say I'm going to drop out, they know that you've already done the mental gymnastics and mathematics in your brain that this is the best decision for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think he knew too, because I was even vacillating with going, first of
Okay.
all. Like, should I go? Because we didn't have the hotel yet. And I'm like, should I go? Should I go? And then, like I had said earlier, I kind of wanted, like, I was like, I'm going to be damned if I don't make it to that line because I did all this work to get here. I want to see what I can do. But I knew I'm not an idiot. I knew I was not in my best shape. I knew I didn't feel well. So I was like, this probably won't go well, but I'm going to give it a shot because I personally don't care if I
Yeah.
don't want DNFing to become a thing, Oh, like,
Yeah.
I think my training speaks for like if I have to reason with myself, I think my training to me speaks for myself about my seriousness with my goals.
Right.
So the event that led up to it just didn't unfold in the best way for me. And so I thought the smartest thing to do would be to use this as a training run. And I had decent paces, like 640s. That's great for like 11 miles. So I'm like, okay, I could just use this as a workout
Right.
and then pick right back up. So what's funny is the next day I was like, oh, I'll run a 20. I couldn't. I was like, I'm gonna take today off. Like I wasn't sore, nothing. And usually that's like the 640s for 10 to 12 is like around my workout pace for my training. So
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out why I like couldn't bounce back. And then into the following week, it was hysterical. I went for a run down the street, like down the street. It was like 0.9. And I just go, oh, and then I turn around and I look and I go, I can't run back to my house. And my husband, was hilarious. He drives by and sees me and he's like, she's walking. Like, did you get hurt? And I come back to the house. He's like, what happened to you? I go, I feel awful. I said, I just feel awful and I can't run. He goes, did you get hurt? And I goes, no, because I've never ever seen you like walk all the way back to the house because I know you just like wouldn't want to waste your time like that.
Right.
And I said, yeah, because I couldn't. And then I tried a 2-miler, could barely do that. It was so weird. Like the next week, I just felt like everything was inflamed. My joints were all inflamed. I had some kind of autoimmune response to whatever was going on. And I think my body just was like, stop, we're done. Yeah.
And your mindset in telling the story, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you're jovial about it. It is what it is. It happened, and you move on from that.
Yeah.
Is that a correct interpretation of?
Absolutely. I actually like was happy when I dropped out. Like I didn't think I finished. Here goes my ADD, right? I didn't finish the story. Like I saw my couple friends and I was like, hey guys, I'm gonna join you in a minute. Like just like that. I was like, we were all like bundled up. I hadn't seen them. They're lovely people. And I was like, oh, I haven't seen them in such a long time. And they were there watching. And I just didn't, I'm like, I'll be right there. And I was like, just gonna make this happen. And then I think maybe they were even a little bit like, what is wrong with this girl?
Make sure the hot cocoa's hot.
Yeah, I know that's terrible to say, but I really didn't care for this one. I have cared before. One
Right.
time I left and I was upset about it, kind of like at first, and then I quickly got over it. But this one, it was kind of, I'll be honest with you, it was kind of scary how indifferent I was. I was just like, I've never been like that, but
I don't think that you're like, I don't mean to say this, but like the way you, like, I don't think it, not for nothing, but it should only matter to you, right?
Yeah.
And in that moment, you were like, this isn't fun. This isn't it. This isn't the thing.
Yeah.
This isn't how I'm capable of performing. And I'm going to share a story with the audience. And with you. I raced Lake Sonoma a number of years ago. It's a 50 miler that's in the Napa Valley region of California. It's 12,000 feet of elevation gain in 50 miles. It is brutal. The name of the subtitle of the race is Relentless. And that's literally what it's like. There is zero flat on this course whatsoever. And I told my wife, I think I'll finish around 12 hours. And I got to the 25-mile mark at around 5.5, 6 hours. So literally on pace. And it got into like 95 to 100 degrees on the way back. And it was just awful, awful, awful. And when I finished, Lori told me that like the guys that were expected and the women that were expected to be top 5, top 10 came rolling in after like 10, 15, 20 miles. Like they didn't run the whole thing either because for them, there was another race. And in their mind, they were like, I could suffer for 50 miles and then have my next race be awful too, because my recovery is going to take twice as long and all of these things. Exactly. And so like, if the people who are literally at the very front of the pack are telling you that, look, today wasn't my day, those of us that are in the middle to the back of the pack, we can take that lesson too and be like, today just wasn't my day. Turn the page and move on to the next one.
Yep. And I think when you get to a certain point and you have a certain goal, you do analyze those things. So like, those elite athletes that were at the top of the pack, they really knew, maybe they had another goal race or something. And if they do destroy their body, they're not going to be able to, quickly rebound. And that was one of the things in my mind that I was thinking, well, obviously I'm not going to get the goal. And I have run races before where I just to show up, to enjoy and to run that race. And it doesn't always have to be about a goal. But this one for me was about getting a certain goal. And I knew it wasn't going to happen. And I thought, well, my body already is a little broken down to begin with. So I'm not going to, risk further damage, because every time you do these long runs, like you're doing extremely long runs, like I have to hand it to you, because those distances and those elevations they're just another animal. And but when you do something around that, a marathon or greater, you get those tiny micro tears. You get people think that they can get right back to running the same way. You really can't. I'm 44 too, so I'm not 25. It takes me a little bit longer to recover. And that was something else I was thinking. I'm not a spring chicken. I need to focus on what the smart thing is to do. And another thing I wanted to bring up, Jason, this was really odd when I was thinking about it. And I did want to share this. I just didn't jive with this race. From the moment I arrived, even going into it, I had signed up for it last year, and that was another component of why I was like, I'm going to show up this year. Something about, I don't know what it was. I'm a very vibey, like if I'm not jiving with something intuitively, I abandon it. So I just was like not into that race, and I decided to not go. I just wasn't having a great block either. And so I didn't go. So this year I kind of was like, my coach was going, he had a few other athletes going. He was really like, this is a great race to do. So then I was like feeling more encouraged. I'll go, and hey, maybe it's meant to be. I didn't make it last year. I'll come this year. So that was kind of another piece about like, I gotta go, I gotta show up, because it was just something for me. And I'll tell you, just nothing felt right. Just nothing. It kind of felt like I didn't belong. Like not in the obviously in the field or anything like that. With it, it wasn't. I wasn't supposed to be there. It was like one of those things in your life that you do that just doesn't feel like you were. It was your path or you were supposed to be there. And it just internally and just viscerally just felt weird to me. I almost was like, it kind of was like a dream in a way. And I just wanted out. I was like,
I know that
want
feeling.
Yeah.
When I raced Canyon's 100 miler a couple of years ago, like I was standing at the start line and I could feel myself starting to drift back. Normally at a race, like I'm moving forward to the start line.
Mm-hmm.
This time I felt myself like drifting back, and I knew in my mind, I was like, something's not cool about this right now. Like something does not feel right about it. And I wound up DNFing at that race as well. I don't even remember how far. I think I got to the 50K mark that year. And I dropped out there. And there were a number of different reasons. It was super hot and the aid station food wasn't there. But my happiness to run the race was probably at level 6 or 7 when normally it's at 10.
Yeah.
I ran Oakland Marathon at the end of March. It was my first standalone marathon in 14 years. I was scared to death. Like, oh my goodness, we have to run fast. Like there's no hiking, there's no quesadillas, no tater tots.
Have a sandwich.
Like I can't hike. Where's my trekking poles? And I was like, we got to run fast the whole time. So I was like throwing out the whole training block. I was scared and nervous about this marathon. But I will tell anybody who was willing to listen, like Oakland is the city to go race in. Their community is unbelievable. Like they make you feel like you are a part of that city from the get-go. And it's a small event. So there's 11,000 people that participated in it this year, but 10,000 of them are somewhere between the 5K and the half marathon. There were less than 1,000 people that ran the marathon. So you're not dodging people left, right, and center. Like you can run and it's pretty clear the whole course. But they're out there on the streets, you know, singing and dancing and playing music. And it brought that to your point earlier, like that vibe was there. And so all of a sudden I was like, this is going to be fun. Like we're going to have a great time. And I did. I had a great time. And I would encourage, unless you're running the half marathon, because the first 8 miles of Oakland is brutal.
I was going to ask you.
It is brutal. There are like people talk about hills and climbing and everything else. Like it is steep when you run Oakland for the first 8 miles. You go straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down. But then once you clear that, it's fairly flat the whole rest of the way. So if you're running the half marathon, like go do your squats and your lunges and get strong so that you can run those hills. If you're doing the marathon, you should do it as well, but then you're going to have 18 miles of flat. But like to your point, like there was a vibe about it. And and it was really cool to show up and be there. So I totally understand, like when you get to an event in a venue, and sometimes you feel it in the race expo, other times you feel at the start line, there's something that's just not, 1 and 1 isn't equaling 2 in that moment.
Exactly. It just didn't click. It just didn't feel right, like from the get-go, even just driving there. I kept expecting it to. I thought, oh, well, you know, something will, and it wasn't anything in particular. That's what's odd. It's not like something happened, or I just never felt like I was supposed to be there and do it. And I think it's funny because I look back last year and I wasn't, you know, and I didn't. And I thought, well, maybe I just kind of forced something that wasn't meant to be. And I think, and that's why I think I was so okay with just, I'm just going to stop over here and head home. I was so happy to be bundled up. Let me tell you, I was like, you know, get warm and comfortable. And the only thing I was upset about was the money I paid for the hotel. You know, I'm just like, oh, but other than that, I was totally happy with it. Yeah.
And I want people who are listening to this to hear this answer, because I'm going to ask this of you. Do you think the connection to the vibe of the race is capable of being felt because of the experience? Because I can hear it in my head, somebody saying, well, Natalie, those are just race day jitters. Like you will get through it. But I think when you are as experienced as you are with your running and knowing your body, like, you know the difference between nervous excitement and like, get me the hell out of here. What are we doing?
Yes. Yes. And you do. Like there are but it's you do a good negotiation. Like you
Yeah.
still can like because as every runner knows, it's like that saying, what's that famous the man never steps in the same river twice or something. There's some kind of famous saying. And because it's never the same river and you're never the same man. So each race, each
Yeah.
block, each experience you're going through, you're not the exact same person. There weren't the exact same circumstances. Just everything doesn't line up exactly the same. It's a different race, it's a different day, different weather. So then you start your negotiations. Is this just me, like not being ready? Because I do know for Chicago, the one that I just PR'd in, and I loved that race. I had a great time. There was one moment when I woke up that morning with that scared dread where like you're like, oh my God, why am I doing this? And why do I put myself through this? And it was just a moment though. There's somewhere, and I didn't feel that at McKirdy. I didn't have dread. It was just strange. It was an indifference. That's the only way I can describe it. I wasn't scared. I wasn't upset. I wasn't happy. I wasn't excited. It was just like nothing. And I've never been like that. That's why I thought it was so strange. But at Chicago, I remember having a moment of just when I woke up that morning and I go, oh my God, like it was scared, excited, but
Yeah.
it's different, And then I remember like texting, my coach said, how are you doing? And I go, I'm literally having a freak out moment. Like I was like, and he said the nicest thing to me. And it was just, I needed that to calm down. And it was like, people that freak out are unprepared and you are not that.
Yep.
And shut up, put your big girl pants on. And then he didn't say it like that, but he was just basically like, cut the shit and go and just be, do what you got to do. So there's those moments though. I think we all go through them, and it was a great race, but there was never that feeling that I had the entire time I was, headed to this race. And then the block too, that could have been a carryover from the block. The block was just nasty. Anything and everything that got thrown at me could have. Personally, like I knew two people had passed away that block, and that took a toll. And then there were I had a really close family friend I was visiting in the hospital at night after I did my workouts. It was just a lot. There was yeah. And I think I knew that, so I was okay with it. I'm like, if I could just still even train through this, that's awesome. Like I'm giving myself the credit to say, proud of you, good job. Like who cares that you
I was told this back in 2011, 2012. I was being coached by Maria Simone, and she asked me how I was doing. And I said, well, you have my training peaks. You can see how I'm doing, right? Because that's what I assumed she was referring to. And she's like, no, I want to know how you're doing outside of the training. How's your job? How's your life and everything else? And so we got into it, and she said, Jason, stress is stress. Your body doesn't know that the stress is coming from a relationship issue or a boss being tough on you or a deadline or the 10 by 400 you just ran. It's just stress. And so if you're losing loved ones and you have another loved one in the hospital, like that stress is cumulative on top of your body. And so that those are things that are going to add to the training while you're still showing up. The stress is almost double in a way, right?
Yep, 100%. Yeah.
And so when you're going through that process, like the training feels harder than the actual training because of all the stuff that you're going through. And I want to make sure that for those of you that are just starting your journeys in running or triathlon, like you need to understand that too, right? Like your boss, your loved ones, your significant others, like if they're going through stresses in life and that's falling on you as well, like that's going to happen and have an impact on your training. So just understand that too. And the other thing I wanted to say is I have a quote similar to your coach. When I have athletes getting ready for a race, I always tell them, I would wish you good luck, but luck is for the unprepared, and you are not unprepared.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it's just that, like, that kick in the pants to let them know you've done the work.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is race day, or this weekend is race weekend, and let it rip. Right? Don't worry about it. Go do your thing, and that's all you can. And that's all you can do. Like, everything that's happened in the past, out of your control now.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the best, like those are the small things that you need to hear. And that's even though I'm a coach, I need someone to tell me that sometimes every once in a while because I know myself, I'll get in my own head
Yes.
and I need somebody to be like, cut the crap, get with my husband does that to me a lot too. I'll be like, and he's like, shut up, Natalie. Like, cut the crap, you toughen up, get out there. And I'm like, all right, yeah. Like, I need somebody to do that sometimes with me. Like, and it's not to like that I don't want to work out or something, but sometimes you get so, with certain things, big races and stuff, you can get really, ooh, I put all this work into it.
And I may put my foot in my mouth here, but I think we have to recognize also, right? Did you just celebrate an anniversary?
I did. Yeah, we did. Yep. Yep. Oh my, like, what is it? I think it's, not 15 years. I don't know. I can't even remember. It's so long. Yeah, we had one in March.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah. Ides of March. We got married on the Ides of March.
Congratulations. But if it's been 15 years or so, then when you come around and you're like, I'll see in a minute. He's been there. He's seen it all. He knows.
100%. He knows, and he's really because I started dating him when I was like 19. I mean, I was a kid, and he knows me. Like, oh my God, he's seen me through everything. And the funny thing is he knows exactly how to handle me. He knows exactly like how I'm gonna react, and he's like, okay, we're fine. He's extremely supportive, and the cool thing is he really just wants me to do well, and he really
awesome.
like cares, and he wants to make sure that I'm happy. So he shows up, he does all these things, and I do acknowledge it. If it's sometimes I have to look at it and go, oh my gosh, he gave up his weekend to come and like support me, and so you have to really reflect on those things, that when people really care about you, they also want you to succeed and have your goals. But he knows when to just like give me a little push, and he knows when to be like gentle and just say, it's not a big deal.
Yep.
Let's go get a beer.
The last time we talked, I believe you said that Chicago is that race that you will always keep going back to. Yes. Are you going to be racing it's October, right?
Yes. I did sign up. I hope so. Like, I'd like to keep going back there. And I feel like even after this race, I was like, well, what if I get Weird Vibes with Chicago? I don't think I can, because I've had not so many, but 2 great experiences there. And if I go there and don't do well, I don't think I would care. Like, it's just one of those races where I'm like, I just want to go and keep going. I love it so much. I don't know what it is about that race. It's the community. It's so well organized. It's big, but it also doesn't feel that big. It is big. There's a lot of people around. I mean, that's undeniable. But it's just, when I'm running it, I don't feel crowded. It's so the water stops are perfect timing. Just everything's great about it. And even if it was a terrible race and I like bonked, and I would still be like running and so happy. Yeah. So that's the difference between that race and then this one, which is just, I'm so perplexed by it, to be honest. I don't know. I just, yeah.
That goes to your point earlier, right? About, the weather is different. This is different. Like, no one day is repeated. And so while we could say, well, a 26.2 is 26.2, they're not one in the same. We're going to be racing in Pittsburgh at the beginning of May, and we're doing the Pittsburgh Marathon there. And Oakland's hills are from miles 0 through 8. From what I've seen of Pittsburgh, the hills are from miles 17 to 25. So, they're on the back end. And so while they're still 26.2 and they're still climbing and they're 2 totally different races. Then you throw in the weather is going to be different, right? And I think athletes, need to understand that no two races are exactly the same, even if it's the same course, because every day is different. Your training block is different. And so I could see, right, this idea of going to Chicago. I love the event. I've had 2 great races there. And even if it's not a third great race, it's going to be a great race because of the venue.
Yep. It just, I love the city, love everything about it. And it's a great race. And the after race part too is so well organized, fun stuff to do. It's just, I recommend it to anybody. But I do, part of me wants to, I've always wanted to run Wine Glass, which is up in Corning, New York, and it's around the same time. I've signed up for it twice and never made it for other reasons. I did other races. I think I did Indy one year, and then last year I went back to Chicago. And so that's another one I want to race and try. But I really like Chicago. So until the hub says it's too much money to go out to Chicago every time, then I'll stay local. Yeah.
That's awesome. I want to be respectful of your time. We're bumping up on an hour here. Last time we did some food questions, but this time I want to ask, I'm going to steal from our other show, what's in your earbuds? So what is it that you're listening to today? Favorite podcast that you listen to, music that you're listening to? Let us hear it.
Okay. So my favorite music now, I don't listen to podcasts while I run, which is, I know that's odd. A lot of people do. I have to listen to music, and I really resonate with music. It's just been something that as a kid, I've just always like really been into music, love music. So that's my time, music in my earbuds, and then I'm running and I just zone out. I love Max Richter. Have you heard of him?
I have not.
He's actually like a neoclassical composer, but he does all the music for, there's a show called Leftovers that was on HBO many years ago. He does like background music. So really dramatic background music. And so I have tons of his music. I love it. But I just downloaded one recently. There's a movie out called Hamnet. I don't know. He does the music for that, and he has a new song out, and it's like the soundtrack music. So I downloaded that. Really good. Been loving that. Lana Del Rey, I just like rediscovered her, and just downloaded a bunch of her stuff, stuff from The Great Gatsby, and then Born to Die, that other album. And I'm trying to think what else. I've got like old school people on there. I love Phil Collins. I'm an old school Phil Collins fan.
Yes.
Peter Gabriel.
Yeah.
I love who else? Like there's so many. I have so many random stuff, and then I'll have these one-offs, like these cheesy 80s like songs, like real random one-offs. Like I had Bette Midler on there recently. The Rose, that song, like that song that every girl from middle school wants to sing in the solo. That's like your staple. I want to sing The Rose. And that I have that on there randomly. I have some weird stuff. Like if you like I've got T-Paw from the 80s. Oh my god, I have all sorts of crazy stuff.
We have a playlist, the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network playlist on Spotify that's 66 hours long. We have people, community members, just keep dropping songs in there constantly. So I'll add Nick Rector to the playlist as well. 2 questions from the show that have popped up recently, and I'm asking one of them because you brought up Nick Rector and his songs for TV shows. But the show that we just published today was about music that you should listen to during taper. So is there an artist or a song that you would listen to during taper that would calm you down instead of getting you amped up to go hammer miles?
Yeah. Any of the slow background music, like that I have on there, that's just, it's like movie background music. So like Max Richter, or like I've got just a lot of random. Oh, here's another group that I really love, Light and Motion. So they are like M83, but subdued and more like just music. They don't do lyrics. So they just play music, and it's like as if you were sitting at night staring up at the stars, and then someone was playing some kind of galaxy music. It's that kind of music, very chill, beautiful stuff though, inspiring, but very not too crazy, so it would subdue you and make you like a little
Perfect.
bit calmer. Yeah, light and motion, the coolest band ever. I've said I follow them on Instagram. They're great.
I'll put that on the playlist too. So because you brought up Max Richter and TV shows and music like that, the episode that we just recorded was if your life or training block or whatever was a show that was written by Shonda Rhimes, who wrote Grey's Anatomy and Scandal and other shows, Private Practice. And because somebody either always dies or somebody gets sent off the show for some whatever reason, what's the swan song? What's the song that they're going to play about Natalie's life as they write her off the show?
Oh my gosh, that's a tough one. So what's the swan song? Is like a womp 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 kind of song?
No,
Like
whatever song you want. So for me, I told Joe during the episode, like I envision the way they write me off the song is like my enemies have just butchered me. They've killed me to pieces, and the song that's playing is Pinball Wizard by The Who. Like,
that's a good one. That's a good one. Oh my. Oh, that's tough. I'm not really sure.
it's not easy because you have to
It's
figure.
not like that's actually a tough question.
Yeah,
Because
because you have to.
blurt out an answer to pick something. I think I need to like think about this one.
Well, when we
I do.
post this, we'll post this episode in a week from today. So on the 21st, it'll come out. You can
Okay.
answer the question there. I'll tag you in there. So you have to think of two things, right? Is the scenario in which you get killed, or is the scenario in which like your character has evolved and you've moved on to some other show or some other thing that is happening, and so they write a different song there. So you have to come up with two things: the scenario and then the song that goes with it.
Okay, I love that. That's so fun. That's so fun. I love it.
Thank you for joining me. I've had a great time once again, and we'll have to get you back on the show. We'll figure out Chicago, wine glass, maybe Happy New Year. Who knows? We'll get you back on the show because it's always a great time to chat with you.
I'd love to be back, and you need to get some sleep.
Trust me, it's 9 o'clock on the East Coast. I am ready to close this laptop and go to bed.
All right. Thanks for having me again. All right. Bye.
Everybody, thank you so much for sticking around and listening to Natalie and I chat for the last hour. Time is the greatest gift that we can give to each other, and you gave Natalie and myself the gift of your time. So thank you very much. Make sure you come back next week for the next Fireside Chat. And while you're in between, don't forget to subscribe, rate, review, and comment on the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network. Appreciate you guys. Have a great one. We'll see you soon.